How to study your novel by Literature Help. How to study your novel. Reading literature, novels and plays, for example, requires a different approach than reading a textbook. In literature, the meaning isn't often stated directly, but is implied. You have to get a sense on your own of what the work means, instead of having the author explicitly saying, "This is idea A, and this is idea B." Good writers do create stories that are organized and comprehensible. For example, a story usually follows some organization, whether it's told chronologically, in flashbacks, from different perspectives, and so on. Also, writers provide many clues to the meaning or main ideas they want you to get from the work. Research. Doing some research on the background of your novel will greatly enhance your understanding of the characters, themes and plot. First, find out about the writer. You can do this by reading a biography or by searching for newspaper and web articles. This will help you to appreciate the writer's purpose and the message he or she has tried to convey through their work. Then, do some research on the time period in which the novel is set. Find out about the political, social, and economic conditions of the day. Your first reading of the novel should focus on reading only, rather than starting off by taking a lot of notes. Take time to think about the characters and to form opinions about their behavior. Question what you are reading and try to predict what may happen next. Make sure that your reading time is undisturbed, that you can fully concentrate on absorbing the story, and don't be afraid to take breaks. Read again. Creating notes. The second reading of the novel should involve creating a study of all the main aspects of the story. First, create a timeline of events that occur throughout the book so that you have a clear record of how the story unfolds. Then, compile character studies of each of the main characters, adding to them as you read. For example, in the first chapter, you are likely to be introduced to the protagonist. Write down your first impressions about the kind of person they are alongside some quotations that demonstrate particular qualities. Add to this as you progress through the novel. In particular, the following points are important to consider when reading and analyzing literature. Characters. Who are the main characters in the piece? What are the names and roles of the main characters? Who is the narrator, the person telling the story? Does this person have a bias? That is, can you trust what he or she is saying? Events and interaction. What happens in the story? How do the characters interact? How are they related or connected? Why do the characters act or behave the way they do? Why do the events play out as they do? Setting. Where does the piece take place? Is the setting critical to the story? Does the setting provide background? Does the setting give historical, physical, or other information that is key to the story? Time. When does the story take place? Is it timeless, or is it grounded in a particular place and time? Organization. How is the story organized? Most commonly, stories are told chronologically, but in some works, you may find that the author moves back and forth in time as well as place. Writing style. What does the writing style tell you about the story? Is the writing richly detailed? Is it sparse? For example, Hemingway was famous for his Spartan writing style. How does the writing style affect the meaning? Do you have to make assumptions or guesses because there are gaps? Symbolism. Symbolism can be tricky because, sometimes, as the saying goes, a cigar is just a cigar. Other time, a journey represents something beyond the trip itself. For example, Huck Finn's trip was more about his development as a person than his trip down the river. Theme. You should also identify the themes and make some notes on how these themes are presented in the novel, again including quotations. What are the themes of the story? What elements or ideas are repeated or emphasized? Think about this throughout your reading, not just at the end. Notice what people, places, and events pop up over and over again. Examples of themes are revenge, love, the tragic nature of war, chaos and order, death, darkness and light, greed as a person's downfall, and so on. Retelling of a story. Many stories are in some way or form a retelling of a previous story. If you think about Huckleberry Finn's trip, you can find other trips from Greek mythology, Homer's Odyssey, to the Bible, the trip of the Magi, with similarities. Evaluate. Find some examples of essay questions related to your novel. Ask your teacher or tutor to set you some questions, or create your own topics for debate about the story and its characters. Then, comb through your notes to find material that will allow you to answer the questions, adding further evidence in the form of quotations and explanations of parts of the novel as you go along. Having compiled your answers in note form, write essay-style answers to your questions. Ask your teacher, tutor, peers or classmates to give you feedback on your work, and use this to improve your answers. The more often you do this, the more polished your answers will become, and the better the result you will be able to achieve.